What global trends do you see in manufacturing, innovation, and disruption? Now, not every panelist has to answer every question, but we'll start there and we can say what kind of global trends are we seeing in manufacturing or healthcare or ports, etc. So who would like to start that one? Todd, do you want to do it?
Yeah, I think, I already in my introduction, I talked a bit about what we're seeing globally. So we're definitely seeing this move towards digitization, right? And we see there are really three legs to this that we think US companies need to be focused on if they're going to be more competitive globally. So one is the easy one to see is the technology itself. So there are massive disruptions happening in the technology itself every single day, and those disruptions are occurring at an ever-increasing pace. Certainly the number one challenge there, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises, but really for everyone, is just keeping abreast of the technology that's actually evolving and how fast it's evolving. And if you're a smaller enterprise, that is a real challenge. You probably don't have very deep pockets, and you probably don't have a very large staff with a lot of skill sets dedicated to staying abreast of all those technologies. So just keeping abreast of what's happening technologically and finding the right solutions and knowing when to adopt those solutions and when those solutions are mature enough that they're ready for you to adopt without too much risk. And yet they're not so mature that they're about to be disrupted by the next thing that's coming along behind them is an incredibly challenging thing to navigate. The other two legs, though, that the other panelists have spoken to as well are more of the human aspects. So we look a lot at the leadership of companies. Company leadership needs to change to be adaptive to the technology and the innovation as well. That even means leadership skills, leadership structures. Are the leaders of any organization, large or small, or any business unit or any function within an organization, are they ready to lead through that change? And do they understand where they're trying to go and what they're trying to arrive at? And that is just the biggest challenge. And most of our members tell us that is a larger challenge than the actual technology itself. It is the leadership piece. And then third is the organizational aspects. Again, these are human elements, but they're sort of a hybrid. One of the things we see a lot right now with organizations is there are a lot of organizations, especially if they're leading a little bit in this curve of trying to adapt these disruptive technologies. There are organizations right now that are drowning in data, absolutely drowning in it. So 10 years ago, they felt like they didn't have enough data, they didn't have the right data, they were not collecting data the way they should be, whether that's supply chain, factory floor, data back from customers, post-use, whatever it might be. And 10 years ago, a lot of companies would have said, we just don't have enough data. We don't really know what's happening. Now they'll tell you, we still don't really know what's happening, but it's because we're drowning in data. We have so much data. We've innovated so much on the data capture side that our organization has not figured out as an organization how to manage all that data and how to get from just raw data to actual information and actual insight. And so that is an enormous challenge right now too. So if you look at all three, the technology leg, the leadership leg, and then the organizational changes that are going to be necessary to support all of that, we feel like that's where global innovation is really going. And we're all competing in these same areas, right? So the same technologies and the same challenges are happening in Germany, China, Japan, you name it, any of the leading countries and the developed countries, even some of the developing countries are definitely moving in these directions. And it's putting some real strain on the global supply chain, and it's putting strain on the US from a competitive standpoint.